Yeah, I mean, I think Kevin's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. He has to he has to command his pitches, and he's got two good pitches, but two good pitches that require command, and that's been a strength of Kevin's throughout his career is his command of both of those pitches, and he commands the pitches. He's going to have good results. If he leaves some balls in the middle of the plate, they're going to hit him.
Is there a plan for Daniel Palencia?
Yeah, Daniel will be active soon. He's done with pitching rehab. He pitched on Sunday, so we're going to give him some days, and then he'll be active. No, not tonight. Not active tonight.
How do you kind of sum up how things went for him on the rehab? I know early on there were some.
Yeah, certainly improved as he went, like you'd expect. He's healthy. He's ready to go.
Saw Contra taking some grounders. Is he an option there?
Shortstop. Is he an option at first base? Did you say?
Saying the first option.
Yeah, I would say double secret emergency. Yeah, I mean it's just part. Some of it is just like a little bit be an athlete, kind of be a baseball player. So we do that with our outfielders. He's going to play the outfield. You're not going to see him at first base unless emergency.
What's the feeling like in the situation? Will had yesterday his top two relievers that were down. He couldn't pitch them. What is it like for a manager in a late game situation? Sometimes when you know you don't have proper matchups and you're hoping things happen rather than sure that this is pretty much going to work out.
I'm never sure. I don't think any of us who do this are ever sure. We shouldn't be sure.
Better idea.
It's a game, you know, and there's competitors out there, and each side's trying to beat each other. So you try to make the best decisions. You try to put your players in the best position to succeed. You have to give players rest. You have to stay away from players some days. That you won't make it through long seasons without them. You won't make it to the most important times of the seasons without them. And then you just make the best decisions with what's in front of you on those days.
Shaw, good to go for starting the rehab with Iowa?
Yeah, Shaw's on his way to Iowa. He will play tomorrow.
The Peterson, when I talked to Peterson today, he talked about the fact that when he came in here, everyone was totally honest with him about what his role was immediately, that he's going to start. There's other times where you might have to just pitch in situations. How does that style come about where you can envision these things, you tell them exactly what might occur so there's no surprises down the road?
Yeah, I mean, I think giving the players the direct information, whether it's good news, bad news, has always been the most effective way. For me, the players, they know how I'm thinking, how the team is thinking, and then they get to choose their response, right? And the vast majority of players want to do the right thing, and they know they have to earn the things that they get. They know there's rules and there's games that we all kind of have to operate within, and you don't always get the exact news you want to get. They're used to that. If you get to this place, you experienced that, you've gone through it, you've overcome it. It's part of being a good competitor. It's part of being a professional athlete. A good professional athlete. So, David, has handled this situation really well, as have a number of guys. And, I think we're also getting to a point in the year where, you understand that, we're trying to do something that's really hard to do, and it's going to require some kind of special effort from each one of us.
Craig, Pete does what he does last night, and now he's sitting there with kids from the Boys and Girls Club. What does that say about him as a person?
Well, I think, Pete's came into this with a very good understanding of, came into the major leagues with a good understanding of, how he could be an impactful person. And he also understood, I think Pete understands the things where he connects with people really well, and who connects with him really well, and then what's important to him. And I think, one of the things that's hard for athletes to do sometimes is to keep that all in perspective, frankly, like that stuff is the stuff that's the best at keeping it in perspective. The game last night is the worst at keeping it in perspective, if I think you understand that. But that stuff's the best way to keep things in perspective.
Craig, you've had the chance to experience Chicago baseball from different vantage points as a visiting team, now here with the Cubs for a while. You've been involved in games on both sides of town. How would you describe what the Chicago baseball fan is like?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what's made this year better playing this team is they're a good team. I mean, that's what made last night fun, is that they're a good team, and it makes a difference. And I think you feel that difference, kind of year over year. You very much feel that difference. I mean, and then when you get in a stadium and there's equal number of fans from both teams, which doesn't happen very often. Like that's very rare in sports, actually, and that's why these games are so much fun. Usually there's an overwhelming majority of one side in a stadium, and so that's what makes these things really fun and makes the games. I think people passionate about them, and the players put on a great show for everybody last night.
What do you think of that fight? So you're distracted by that, or you think Pete said it was kind of nauseating, but kind of joked about it too?
Yeah, I mean, during the game, my vision's a little shaky. Yeah, maybe you see some, it looked serious. I will say that. Yeah. And then it was over, and you kind of moved on, but it did look serious. Yeah.
What have you seen from Zephyr John since he came over in the trade?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen what we thought we'd see. It's a little confusing on some of the pitches that have gotten hit so far. So we'll keep trying to dig into that. But I like what he's offering. Some of the left-handers have got him a little so far.
When you say confusing, as far as the
pitch last night wasn't a bad pitch. You throw a ball at the top rail of the strike zone, 98 miles an hour. That's a good 0-0 pitch. So sometimes the hitter has to just it's a good swing, Andrew.
Yeah.
Craig, I know you talked yesterday and on the radio today about Will deciding to pitch to Pete instead, and not pitch to Seiya. I mean, it makes sense, but how good is Pete now that that's a conversation? You should, you know what I mean? To even think about walking him in that spot or give Seiya behind him. It doesn't just kind of speak to what he's been doing this season.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they're hitting next to each other, because it's a tough. You try to make managers' decisions really hard. Is what I'd say. That's kind of the point. And then I think I really believe Seiya quietly has done a whole bunch. Has been super consistent this year and had a really, really good season. I mean, Pete's just been that much better. It's hard to say, but he's been so good that it feels like there's a gap. But Seiya's been awesome this year. He's having a great season.
You feel Asad will be in the rotation this time around next week or so, or how are you looking at that?
We'll have 5 starters in there, and when we get there, we get a little closer, we'll figure it out.